Points battles are tightening and tempers are boiling over in the late stages of the BRP iRacing series, and we're here to see it all. Come along for a ride through a handful of heats and consies and 70 laps of action at Lanier. Hello and welcome to Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. Joe Donahue is alongside this afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. And of course, Emerson Arden is batting down the hatches over on social media. We're ready then for 70 laps, as I mentioned, for our feature race a little bit later. But Joe, welcome to Lanier. Welcome to Braselton, Georgia. Welcome to a place that I wish still had racing like this.
And welcome, it is a warm one indeed, and yes, even though the Lanier Raceplex does not put on real-world showings anymore and the track sort of sits vacant in this area, it's still a wonderful racetrack to put the BRP iRacing series out on. It's short, it's got some banking, the track works in very nicely. It's definitely one of the higher-end racetracks when it comes to dirt racing on ovals in iRacing. And it makes for some really exciting stuff. So hopefully these guys work with that tonight. And it's a really great stage to set any series on, let alone this group.
Well, I know the impression is that this place sits pretty much vacant these days, but much to the contrary. In fact, they had, plenty of kart racing throughout 2021, as they usually do, but more importantly, they did hold a Legends series over the summer, those four rounds of which I was lucky enough to broadcast underneath the Track Pass and NBC Sports Gold kind of umbrella. This place is hands down, one of my favorite places to go to, and maybe that's helped along by the fact that just across the street, just beyond the backstretch, Joe, there happens to be some road racing track. What's it called? Road Atlanta, something like that. Yeah, it might be helped along by that, but genuinely, going down to Lanier Raceplex as it is now, the Lanier National Speedway when it was scanned back in the earlier 2000s, it is one of my favorite racetracks to have been to in person. One of my favorite racetracks to be at in the sim. One of my favorite racetracks to present in the sim. It's just a fun track. It's a bowl. It's 3/8 of a mile. It's got decently long straights, I think, for the shape and dimensions of the track, but also nice, wide, sweeping corners. It's got everything you could possibly want in a short track, all right here and now. As a karting venue with the walls knocked down, you could do anything you want, even drifting through the infield. So it's just a really, really solid little piece of racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think we talk a lot about racetracks that we go to that turns 1 and 2 are very different than 3 and 4. And this is definitely not one of those racetracks. I think the biggest thing is the psyche. I know there's a lot of mental prep that goes into going into turn 3 because of the off track where the wall kind of breaks, but the corners are a lot more similar than some of the racetracks we normally go to. And that gets guys into a rhythm a little bit better. And set some good expectations for the racetrack. So I think that's something that is going to work into the favor of all these guys as they continue forward in the race tonight and obviously into the championship. And I think this is the racetrack one of those racetracks I think Travis Miller looks forward to. He's had some solid results here in the past, and as you can see in the championship, he's going to need a little bit more of a buffer from Brandon Plank.
Yeah, only 6 points now after Volusia last week. Now, this does say after 8, we've actually run 9 rounds. We'll make sure that's corrected to make sure it says 10 for Bristol next week. But I find a lot in this point standing very interesting. Obviously, up front, Travis Miller at 356 and Brandon Plank at 350, just 6 points apart. Brett Rolls is still very close for having no wins, and Andrew Clark has clung back into contention, only 32 points out of the lead now, and of course that means he's only 15 back of Brett Rolls and 26 away from Brandon Plank. So when you start to break those numbers down, it's a lot more tangible for him to claw his way back into this championship battle and still win this championship if he continues his reign of dominance here in the BRP iRacing series. You look down to 5th and 6th. You got Michael Hackett and Jamie Porter just 1 point apart. Joe Matthews, Brett Haas, Scott Fritz, and Tanner Correa, the rest of your top 10 there. Further back, I look at guys like Gavin Isley, Garrett Zacharias, Mike Wenner, who have got to turn things back up if they want to fight back into the top 10. You're starting to look at maybe, can you get into the top 10 if you're guys like Jeff Sharp, Tyler Josh, and Bowski a little further back in that top 20?
Yeah, for sure. We're closing in. I mean, the end of the season is coming on quickly, and you're running out of time to get those points back together. And a lot of those guys had maybe a week or two that they couldn't come, or they had a DNS and they didn't qualify for races and stuff like that. And you cannot do that at this point in the season if you want to get up into the top 10 more in the championship. As you can see on the screen, we're at Lanier for race 10. We've only got Bristol, Fairbury, Eldora, and Charlotte left, and so you're really going to have to start putting together good performances if you want to move up in the order. The seasons, we've been rolling for a little while. Everybody's kind of found their rhythm. That definitely shows with Andrew Clark going 3 for 4 in the last 4 races, that everybody's kind of caught their rhythm. They're getting together and working with each other, figuring out how to race everybody else on the racetrack and understanding how you need to pass the guy in front of you. And at this point in the season, you really got to start eliminating the mistakes and keeping up the consistency if you want to be able to do that, because we've stratified the order a little bit, but there's still time for turnarounds.
And when you just look at it as round 10 of 14, it doesn't sound like you're that close to the end, right? When you just look at the points, it doesn't seem like you're coming right up to the championship race. But when you look at it this way, and you've got every round listed in front of you, man, we are close. We are, in fact, just within 1 month away from crowning a champion at Charlotte, down there in Concord, North Carolina on February 7th. It's coming up quick. I mean, it is here. I mean, this is crunch time for everybody. No more messing around. No more mulligans at this point. And like you said, if you missed one race, well, you've got your work cut out for you, because now every crash goes on your record for the season. If you have one race where you miss or get eliminated or something, that is your one and only mulligan. You only get the one drop week. So, you have got to be on at these last 5 races. Lanier, Bristol, Fairbury, Eldora, Charlotte. Very tough places, too. Lanier, pretty tight. Fairbury is a quarter mile. Bristol next week, so fast. I mean, it's a half mile, so there's technically room to race, but not really. No, not with the way these guys end up running there in the iRacing.com sim. It is so fast. One little mistake, and we saw what happened to the late models last season. And pretty much the same thing for Eldora, honestly, with the way you have to rip up top. You can make the bottom work early on in the day, but it goes away. And Charlotte, I think, is going to be a lot of the same. So you've got to make most of the session that we have coming up next year. We're into qualifying.
Yes, we are. We're into qualifying now. These guys are going to have 3 minutes to put in 2 laps. We see Gavin Isley's out on the track, Dean Meitzler. You're watching Brett Rolls come down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. He's been pretty good at qualifying, maybe not the highest finishing in the qualifying order, and doesn't have the highest average, but he is usually there, so we're going to get to watch him and some of these other guys try to see what kind of times they're putting down.
Just cycling through a lot of the field, seeing some of the guys who are already out on the speedway, including Joe Matthews. You mentioned Gavin Isley getting out there, Zachary Barsley, Tyler Joshambowski. Dean Meitzler went fastest for a moment. Now Brett Rolls gets up there and goes just a bit quicker, and will work down now to turns 3 and 4. Ryan Beagle's up there. Alan Slight goes to third quick so far in that number 2, and Isley now up to the top of the board. Beagle, Rolls, Bardsley, Meitzler, they've got times in. Now Haas comes across the line. Pereira is in. He has run 9th quick so far of 9th that have run. Michael Hackett is out there, and one of the guys has been oh so fast and oh so impressive as of late in the early goings of the day has been Michael Hackett. Where does he go?
Michael Hackett puts in his time, and I don't see.
He just started it.
Yes, he does. So he just starts this lap here. Hackett has been so good in qualifying and so good in the heat races, and that's what's been getting him the points as of late.
6th.
He goes with a 14.056, so he's about a 10th off of Isley's fastest time. He gets another lap and see if he can do it. Andrew Clark is another guy to watch right here.
Yeah, Andrew Clark is easily, I think, the one driver you have to watch all night long. We'll see how he does through the rest of his qualifying. I do notice Connor Ross is back out here. Have not seen him in a long time. He's only made a race or two. Good to see him back in the field. I also noticed Corby Daniels out here in his number 88, as well as Hunter Holberg. He's going to be rolling out of the pit lane. There was one driver I noticed that I wanted to get back to. We'll see if we can at some point, but I might have missed the opportunity there. Andrew Clark, 13th quick. I don't want to say momentum leader, but if we had power rankings, he'd be quite high up there. He's 13th in qualifying. It's going to be tough for the heat race.
Yeah, but Andrew Clark's kind of been in that situation a couple times so far, and we know there's some guys who can work the early dirt better than others, and obviously, we talk about Brett Haas, Michael Hackett, Brandon Plank being able to do that. Hunter Holberg right here, he sets his time. He's not too far down the order. He runs a 14.104. Another guy who's kind of got a little bit more together with the early dirt, and Adam Hilton here as well in the 3A, going to try to up his time. He's the only guy who hasn't put a number up on the board. So Andrew Clark, he carries a lot of momentum all the way through the race. He's got 70 laps to figure it out, but those early points from the heat races, those bonus points, those are crucial for the championship. So going to want to watch those for him.
28 cars in total, which is going to leave us at 3 heats once again this week. We'll have 10, then 9, and 9. We will still only take 4 from each heat, but that means that we're taking 5. No. I gotta do the math again. 7. Yes, 7 from each consolation race. So these races are still the same cutoff line, same transfer spot. You're still racing for 4th place in each of the heats. It just changes things up later in the day. Let's look at your first grid of the day. Starting on pole for heat number 1, that's Brandon Plank. He was the points leader for a lot of this season, now in 2nd place. He will start to the inside of 3rd place in the points. Brett Rolls. Starting 3rd in this heat, you've got Connor Ross. Michael Hackett will occupy the final transfer to start this one off, but that's going to be quickly contested, of course, by Andrew Clark, who starts 5th. Scott Fritz starting 6th. Starting 7th in heat number 1, that's going to be Zachary Bardsley, with Brian Berger outside. Starting 9th in this first heat, you got Jeff Sharp. Adam Hilton will join him on that 5th row of 10 cars. 8 laps the distance for these guys. We've got more cars than laps. How's that going to go?
I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, one of the big things about the way that this setup is that we had previously in this season run 4 heat races and then into those 2 consies. We've dialed it back to 3. You're still bringing only 4 cars, so 4 out of 6 on a short track like this, only 8 laps. It definitely kind of gets you into high gear when you start this heat race off, especially if you're starting more in the back, too.
And let's be clear, it's not dialed back by choice. Car count has gone from 40 at the start of the season down to a little bit more like 30, and when you take some of those cars away, iRacing automatically works down to the fewest number of heats that you need to get to whatever number you're working up to. So when you have a few fewer drivers and you no longer force that 4th heat by the car count, it will still put, however many, it will still fill the first 3 heats and will get rid of that 4th, because then you have consolations later to sort out the rest of the field. So that's just kind of how iRacing does it as we get ready to go for our first green flag of the evening here at the Lanier Raceplex. Brandon Plank, he's on pole for this first one, and he brings us out of turn number 4, looking for a green flag. Green is out in heat 1. Already 1 car in the fence. The field races on. That was Michael Hackett.
And Michael Hackett is one of those guys who's really good at the beginning of the nights, and this is just not what he needed at all. He's pretty solid in the championship for points as well, so this is going to hurt for that. Brandon Plank still leads the way. Brett Rolls, Connor Ross, Andrew Clark, they're your top 4s that come out of turn 4 this time.
4th place currently occupied by Zachary Bardsley, contested by Connor Ross, although not really. Scott Friss is down to the inside of the 35 car, in the black and yellow 48 is ripping right down low. He's right on the inside line, which is so good early in the day, Joe, but that's going to change.
Yeah, that is definitely an interesting point, that Scott Fritz has been very good at the beginning, and he's actually got, 3 in a row? He didn't win a heat race last time at Volusia, but he had 3 in a row up to that point, and right now, I mean, he's sitting in kind of a crunch spot. I mean, you got to kind of get things rolling right now for Scott Fritz. You want to make it straight in. He's fighting with Jeff Sharp for 5th, and the transfer is running away from him up front.
Yeah, the big thing we're going to have to watch out today is the way the track changes. That bottom line starts out real good. You can already see into 1. There's a bit of slick forming down there as these guys run the moisture out of it. Look at it there in 3. Same thing. They have packed that dirt down. They're starting to run the moisture out of it, and it is starting to dry up and harden up, and it's going to be not so great for racing here in a moment. But it's working now.
It's working right now, and it's going to work up throughout the course of these heat races. This first heat race, everybody's just kind of getting the grips on how the track's going to run through as we get the white flag presented by Tucson Sound Art. They got one more time around the racetrack for this first heat. Zach Bardsley looking pretty good, and this would be a feel-good moment for him if he can get this transfer through 3 and 4.
Bardsley will take the first transfer of the day. Well, I guess the final transfer spot in the first heat race of the day. Plank, Rolls, Clark, and Bardsley will move on straight out of heat number 1. Fritz, Sharp, Ross, Hilton, Berger, and Hackett then will have to go through the remaining the remaining consolation races here in just a little bit. But first up, Joe, we've got heat race number 2 on the ready.
Yes, we do, and we start off on the inside of the front row. The guy who runs Catfish quite often with this series, Gavin Isley in the 18. He will start to the inside of the 55. Brett Haas, very strong in these heat races all season long. Ryan Beagle going to start behind him, and he's been getting much better. Had a sort of slump at the start of the season, but the 84 has been rocking socks pretty decently lately. Mike Wenner to his outside in the Lindy number 23. Roll back to row number 3 on the inside. You got Tyler Pachalski in the 21. Has had a tough time last week. He's looking to rebound. Alan Slight to his outside in the 2 as well. Behind them, you've got Dean Reynolds starting 7th in the 79 machine into his outside. Richard Pereira, pretty solid at getting into the mains from heat races at the beginning of the season. We'll have to see how he gets through this one. And to the final row, all alone in row 5, Dean Meitzler in the 49 going to be rolling off from shotgun on the field. As they come past the line, they're going to have one more time around before they get that green flag for heat race number 2.
A lot of great partners allow us to do this every single week with the BRP iRacing series, and they include the BRP themselves, Bicknell Racing Products, MDR Designs, Jam Performance, Lindy Direct, Creative Turnings, and the Super Dirt Car Series. We've got 8 more laps of heat racing action here on the way, and it all starts here in just one more moment. Wait for it. Wait for the green flag. There it is. Green flag is out. Isley leads. Already contested spot up front. Haas and Isley going after it.
Isley holds the line right now. Brett Haas trying to find a little bit of extra grip down at the bottom of the racetrack. It kind of levels off down there too, so the banking goes away where Haas is. Wonder if that's going to upset the balance of that car, or maybe it's going to help it. He stays to the inside of Isley now as they come through 1 and 2 again. He's not letting him get away.
For the transfer, it's Wenner over Pachalski. That's 4th spot. Beagle is in 3rd. That's the 84. It's ahead of that black and yellow 23. 6th place would go to Slight currently, and he's 2 spots then out of the transfer, but he's in a spot where if Pachalski starts battling here with Wenner, he can easily take advantage of it. We've seen that plenty of times before. Or if Wenner gets into Beagle like that, yeah, well, maybe the door opens up for both of them.
I think the door's going to open up a little bit on the outside of Pachalski right here. Slight's going to get a run to the outside. They go 2 by 2 as Pachalski, he just nicked him as they came down the back straightaway. Maybe a little over-under right here. Watching Beagle and Wenner, if they get too close together, you're right, Alan Slight's going to have a shot.
Watching these guys rather keep at it. Your leader's still Isley. And I don't know. Is this battle going to materialize? 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks for Pachalski. He's got to get going.
Yeah, Pachalski's definitely starting to come onto the crunch here. Mike Wenner, Ryan Beagle, they stay side by side. Brett Haas right in front of him in 2nd. Isley's kind of on his own right here, so he's breathing a little bit easier as they get the white flag presented by Tucson Sound Art one more time around the track. And that transfer spot, they're in a group right now racing for it.
Pachalski's going to try one more time. He gets into Beagle. He's going to turn him around, and they both stop up top. That gives it to Slight. That's it for Heat 2. It's Isley, Haas, Wenner, Slight for your transfers. Reynolds, Pereira, Meitzler, Pachalski, and Beagle will have to work through consies. I will give a big tip of the cap to Pachalski for not dumping him and taking it. He hit him, messed up, and stopped. That is sportsmanship.
Yeah, and Pachalski knew going into that. I mean, he just got into that corner a little hot trying to get in, and unfortunately turned around Beagle. They're both going to have to work back through those consies, but they'll have a little bit of breathing room in those. But in the meantime, we got heat number 3. We're going to set 4 more for the feature here, Andrew.
The last time I recall seeing a driver stop like that after a bit of contact turned the other driver they were racing around was Fabio Zamperlini when he made contact at the end of the final North American Racing League round this past December. Heat number 3 on the way. It's Tyler Joshambowski on pole. You can see the pistol. Jamie Porter starts outside. Rolling off 3rd in Heat 3. That's the Wild Child, Tana Korea, with Dan Sider over his right shoulder. Matt DeRitter rolls off 5th. Hunter Holberg will roll off 6th. And mired way back here is the Thriller, Travis Miller, starting 7th in Heat number 3. Joe Matthews over his right shoulder. And caboose on them all, that's the Beef, Corbett Daniels.
And this is going to be a really crucial heat race, especially for Travis Miller. Brandon Plank, he went out and he won his heat race. He got those 4 bonus points. Travis Miller is sitting in a spot right now where if he doesn't move up too far, I mean, you got to transfer, but if he doesn't transfer straight through this heat race into the feature, he's not bringing any bonus points, and that gap for the championship is going to close down on him quickly. So
going
to have to watch out, and he's going to have to try to get things rolling pretty quickly here with this group as green flag's about to come out for heat race number 3.
That gap already down to 2 points. Let's see if Travis can do anything about it. Out of turn number 4, green flag is back out. This for Heat 3. Porter jumps up to the lead. Josh Mbowski down low. At the line, it was Porter.
Jamie Porter working the top side around it. You can see the slick stuff starting to come in on the bottom side. That's letting Jamie get a little bit of a run. On the outside is Josh Mbowski. Unfortunately, he can't keep that car quite pinned down as much as he wants to hold his momentum, and that's allowing the 45 to give him a nice run on the outside.
You can see the entire field working down the backstretch. Some clouds overhead. Maybe going to help cool this track down just a little bit, make it a little more racy for this third heat. Porter and Josh Mbowski still going after it side by side for third, though. It's the 77 and the 11 side or outside, Correa inside. That's right in front of Correa's teammate in Matt DeRitter, and Matt is in desperate need of some extra points here. He could do it with 1 or 2 points if he can grab third or fourth.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit of trouble right in front of him. Tanner Correa, since signing on with the Beef Esports team, has definitely upped his game a little bit.
Oh, and he
gave him a little shove right there.
Oh, and friends.
A little bit of contact for Hunter Holberg there as well. I know Matt wouldn't have wanted to get that little contact right there. They just got a little bit closed up on each other, but that does give the 03 the final transfer spot.
Really good friends there, DeRitter and Correa, but it turns Correa around regardless, and Holberg, one of their other teammates, gets a piece of it. 2 laps to go that last time by. The 88J leads. It's Porter and Sider for second. DeRitter gets the fence just a bit, and he is right on Sider too. 1 lap to go, presented by Tucson Sound Art.
Sider really seems to want to move up the racetrack right now, and DeRitter is still there. He maybe gets a little bit of a shot right here, the 45. They were calling it. That's not a real number before the race, but Jamie holds on to the outside. Josh Mbowski is going to come out of turn 4 and win the race, and it looks like it might have been with Porter to the line. DeRitter and Sider are also going to get those transfers.
Josh Mbowski, Porter, Sider, and DeRitter. Your transfers, Miller, Matthews, Daniels, Holberg, and Correa will have to go through the Consi races. In this first consolation, and I believe in both consolation events, we will be sending just one car home. That's pressure, if I've ever heard it. 1 car out of each of these next 2 races is eliminated. The rest will move on. Joe, we've got the grid for our first Consi on the way.
Yes, we do, and we start on the inside with the number 48 is Scott Fritz. To his outside is Travis Miller, so he's going to be in pretty good shape to start this one off, but didn't get those bonus points like he wanted. Row number 2 starts on the inside with the 96 of Richard Pereira. Connor Ross coming back after not being here since the first time we visited Volusia. He's starting 4th in the C main tonight. The Beef, Corby Daniels, starts on the inside of row number 3. To his outside is going to be that number 21. The gentleman for the night, let's call it Tyler Pachalski. And rolling off on the final row of the grid, like I said, it's actually the outside is where Tanner Correa starts. A little timing error on my side. Brian Berger will start 7th, and Tanner Correa will roll off 8th and make up the 8 cars that are going to go for 10 laps in the first constellation of the night. Like Andrew said, 1 goes home.
Who is that one going to be? We're going to find out here in just a few more moments. These guys do get 2 extra laps in these consolations compared to their heats. So from an 8-lap heat race that we just saw to a 10-lap consolation, we've got 2 of these consies up, the C main and the B, and we'll see how they sort out. Fritz on pole, Miller outside, green flag is out. We're off and away. Pretty tame first lap. It's Miller at the line, but only just.
Scott Fritz still holding the bottom side. Here Connor Ross right behind these two as they rifle off of turn number 2 and slide into turn number 3. Ross got a nice little run into the corner, but that momentum's going to go away to the middle. And Fritz actually got a little bit of momentum. He led past the line that time.
Bit of contact there, right rear to a left front. Fritz has got the spot. Miller challenges down, well, up the outside, rather. I was going to say down the inside, but no. Fritz still has the lead, and he's got him cleared. Further back to the transfer, Daniels has got the spot, only just over Brian Berger. This is how close it is for a transfer, and that's how it changes that quickly. Now Corby Daniels, the 1 car out.
Yeah, and Corby's kind of running in that slick stuff still a little bit. Berger just right around the outside, and the 60 gets a little bit of a gap in between them. So Corby's running out of space and time, and he's losing the grips on that 60 machine right now. He wants to get up to the top side of the racetrack where there's a little bit of tacky stuff, and he can get that car rolling again. That 88 car's been having some trouble in the B main so far this season. We'll see if he can get up and get him a little break and maybe make this feature event.
Throws it into 3 there, trying to find something. Listening to it, it just sounds sour. Not that he's got problems, as Miller is challenging for the race lead, but it just sounds like he cannot get through the corner the way he needs to. He's having to lift a lot to set the corner up, and that's just bogging the motor down, and I mean, he can't go anywhere out of the corner like that.
No, this is a momentum-based car for sure, and it's definitely hindering him to get there right now. He looked like he got a little bit of better run through turn 1 that time, so giving him a shot, and that group in front of him is closing in on itself a lot. 2 to go at the line, and everybody's getting close together. He's not out of it yet, and in fact, he might get a chance.
Pereira backs up, now Berger down low. Corby Daniels still quite a ways back, all things considered. Carling still the gap. White flag is out, presented by Tucson Sound Art.
They come past here again. Berger and Pereira side by side right in front of Corby Daniels, riding on board as they come to the backstretch for the final time. Up front, no trouble for Scott Fritz and Travis Miller. They'll get there clean. Corby, we're riding on board. Is he going to get there? No, he's not going to have the chance at the line.
And so Corby Daniels, the one car out of those 8 that will not move on to our feature event. Which means we've got one final grid to go through before we have a feature event on the docket for you, ladies and gentlemen. And starting on pole for this consolation race, it is none other than Dean Reynolds in the number 79. Jeff Sharp will start to his outside. A pretty cool front row, not one that you would usually hear, I think, in the BRP iRacing series, showing a lot of growth there in the 79 and 28. Starting third in this consi, you got Joe Matthews in the number 9. Then it's Adam Hilton in the number 3 car. Hunter Holberg will roll off in the 6th position. Let's catch back up there with the grid graphic. There you see Adam Hilton and Double H Hunter Holberg. Starting 7th in this consi, you got Ryan Beagle. Michael Hackett brings up the rear after his Heat 1 misfortune. He's oh so fast every single time we show up for practice, but this has not gone the way he needs it to.
Tonight really hasn't gone the way either of these 84 cars lining up on the last row of the grid
Good point.
wanted it to. Beagle had some trouble, and Hackett himself, maybe 84 is just not the number to bring to Lanier, but hey, only one of them, either of them, will go home at the end of this. They could both make it. There's still plenty of time and plenty of cars to pass, but they'll come around 3 and 4 and get that green flag.
Waiting on the signal from Barney the flagman. There it is, off and away for Consi 2. Out of turn 4, Joe Matthews with the lead. Dean Reynolds still up top. Third place, that goes to Hilton. Sharp around the top side. Meitzler fills a hole. Beagle's already up to 6th, but challenging for 4th.
Ryan Beagle's car is fast. I mean, it's looking really good right now, especially as he's down on the bottom side of Dean Meitzler. Jeff Sharp's all the way at the top side of the racetrack. They almost go 3 wide down the front stretch, and he's going to get a chance to run with that 28 car now as they get into the top 5. And he actually has the edge down the back straightaway this time as they catch Dean Reynolds, and they might split the 79.
Matthews a bobble that time. He backed up to Hilton for a moment, then took back off. Sharp around the top side. Contact maybe with Reynolds and Beagle down low. That top just can't hang on the way these guys need it to, and I'm noticing the field has really evened up in recent weeks. Losing that extra heat, Joe, I mean, it has brought this field so close together. It's clearly difficult to move on.
Yeah, for sure, and it's definitely, I mean, it's always been a really great group of guys, but once everybody's gotten into the rhythm and things are a little bit more dynamic and interesting when you bring less people through the heat races, that these guys kind of get themselves on the jockeys a little bit more in the consolation events. You can see Michael Hackett right beside Hunter Holberg. This is a very interesting battle, and that is the battle for the transfer spot.
Yeah, this is the one battle of them all that we've got to watch in this race. This determines who's going home in this event and who gets to go on and race for 70 laps. Hackett now has the advantage over Holberg. Holberg could have something here, though, on Meitzler, as Hackett had him there at the line. Meitzler still hanging on by a thread. Hunter Holberg could just get to the inside of that 49 car. We'll have 2 laps to go this time.
They are all right together. Throw them under a blanket. They're still running for that spot. 2 of these guys will make it, and 1 might go home. Hackett got the little edge right now. Meitzler actually bobbled a little bit up at the top side of the racetrack. He falls behind the 99. Going to try to slide under again, maybe a slide job even. Not going to get there. Holberg moves up and gets that momentum as the white flag presented by Tucson Sound Art comes out. They got one more time to do it.
And that was great racing by Meitzler. He sat back and let Hallberg take the spot so that he could get back down to the bottom. This time, chucks it down there. That might have been a little too aggressive. Hunter comes back at him, but can't hang on. And that's the battle to the line for the transfer spot. Hunter Hallberg will go home. Man, what was almost for each of those BFE Sports drivers in Corby Daniels and Hunter Hallberg, and unfortunately, they're both headed out of here.
That's not at all what those guys wanted. And Hunter Hallberg has had tough luck lately, and it's just going to build on itself a little bit more tonight. He didn't have things as horrible at Volusia last time, but especially you look back at Kokomo, he had such a difficult time making it through that race, and the start of the season wasn't that great for him either. And even for Corby Daniels, Corby's been having some trouble lately. He was the DNQ at Volusia last time, so it's unfortunate, and it happens, and it comes full circle. They'll get their time, but right now just it isn't, and as a race car driver, being a part of the BRP iRacing series, you kind of have to accept that, and unfortunately for them, tonight's going to be that night where they head it home.
We take a look once again at the point standings coming into this race. This has already been changed around a little bit by the heats, but this is how things look coming in. And the big thing to take from this is the top four. Let's keep watching them throughout the day. Travis Miller, Brandon Plank, Brett Rolls, Andrew Clark. Those are the four to watch. The 17R, the 22, the 77X, and the 98 if you want to be numerical about it. Other drivers to watch would include 5th and 6th, obviously, Hackett and Porter. But I think then you skip a few and you start to look down around there, around Correa, Beagle, DeRitter. Those guys are all pretty close, and they'll have one heck of a battle, I would imagine, from 10th on up. That seems to be where those guys like to run quite a bit. We will take a step aside. We'll be right back to you here with continuing coverage from Lanier National Speedway, Lanier Raceplex, whichever one works for you. We'll be back in a few.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual Lanier Raceplex. It wasn't really covered in dirt when we got on iRacing. It was covered in asphalt, but it was at one point covered in a bit of dirt. It used to be a dirt track, and now we have this dirt version here on the iRacing.com sim. Glad to welcome you back here to Pit Stop TV. I'm Andrew Cardinale the fourth. We got Joe Donahue here as well, and Joe, prelims out of the way if you want to call them that. I know that kind of gets mixed up, of course, with bigger events like, well, that one thing that's happening in Tulsa these days. I don't know about it. But anyways, we've got feature racing up next. 70 laps, and quite honestly, I couldn't tell you who I think is going to win.
You know, 70 laps, and this track's gotten worn in, and there are so many great drivers. I don't think anybody'd blame you, Andrew. There's a lot of really great talent out in this field tonight. I mean, we've got guys like Brandon Plank, Brett Rolls, Travis Miller, who've been at the top of the standings a lot, Andrew Clark. We got names further down in the list too, but they're all getting lined up and ready to go for this feature race now.
We'll go ahead and take a look here in just one moment at our starting lineup. On pole for this is going to be none other than Brandon Plank, who comes in with so much, I think, to be happy with for this season, but just needs a little bit more in this race to get up there and get past Travis Miller in the points, and it honestly might happen just from the get-go. He's starting first. Gavin Isley will start from second place, and at number 18, he's got to cross over down to the bottom side. He's always a bottom feeder here in the BRP iRacing series. Josh Lebowski rolls off third. Brett rolls fourth. Another one of our drivers to watch there in the 17R. Starting fifth, it's Brett Haas, one of the other Bretts in the field. The 55 starts fifth, right alongside of Jamie Porter. I think arguably the driver you have to watch the most today, he starts seventh. The 98, just out of tear. He's got 3 wins now, most of anybody in the series at the moment. Mike Wenner will roll off from 8th. And to round out your top 10 here, Joe, at Lanier, it's Dan Sider and Zachary Bardsley.
You roll back one row from them, you have Alan Slight starting in the number 2 to the inside of Matt DeRitter in the 03 for row number 6. Starting 13th on the grid, he's rolling off in the number 48 machine. Scott Fritz and Joe Matthews will be starting his outside in the 9 machine. Going back to 15th on the grid, you've got the thriller, Travis Miller. He's leading the championship. He's fighting for that championship. He's one of the favorites, but he's starting pretty far deep into this field. Adam Hilton will start beside him in the 16 car. You roll back one more row. You got Connor Ross and Dean Reynolds in row number 9. Then you go back to 19th on the grid in row number 10, Tyler Pachalski and Ryan Beagle.
Starting from the 21st spot today, it's Tanner Correa in the number 11, the Wild Child, then Jeff Sharp, then Richard Pereira, Michael Hackett, 23rd, 24th. Starting 25th, it's Brian Berger, 26th goes to Dean Meitzler, and just like that, we're ready to go. Green flag racing out of turn number 4. Let's turn the music down, let's turn the motors up. Green flag is out for 70. Love the sound of 26 big blocks in the morning, or the evening in this case. Lap 1, that's done. Brandon Plank led it.
Brandon Plank rolls the inside line with Tyler Joshimbowski down low as well. Oh, Brett Haas got a little too deep into turn number 3. He got a nick of the wall. He keeps it rolling. He stays clean. He's got Andrew Clark all over his tail, though, now.
One car way back is Berger. There's some 3 wide further back in the top 10. Clark is in the middle of it. Wenner was up top, and Haas is trying to roll that bottom and get going somewhere. The top 4 is relatively sorted out, and this is where the fighting really gets going for 6th.
Indeed, and there's still 3 wide. Zach Bardsley's making a run with Matt DeRitter up to the outside line right there. You see Brett Haas still trying to hold on to the 6th spot. Those top 4 or 5 guys are starting to split away just the tiniest bit to give themselves maybe a millimeter more of breathing room.
Guys still fighting throughout the entire top 10, still side by side up front for our race lead. It is still the number, well, no, now it's the number 18, taking the race lead by force from Brandon Plank. No contact, thankfully, but just rolls that top side, rolls the good dirt, and gets on by the 77X. Look at everybody backing up as the bottom starts to go away. The middle starts to go away. It's up to the top side now for everybody.
And Scott Fritz, look at how far up the racetrack he went. He ran the Larson line through 3 and 4, and it got him rolling pretty solidly, I'd say. Gavin Isley leads the way. He's one of those guys who's very good when we come to short tracks. He's running with Brandon Plank right now. That's the battle for the lead, but off the corner, the number 18 is going to take it.
A little further back in the top 5, Josh and Bowski up top. Porter's challenging low. There's Haas. Clark and Wenner are going at it. Clark is up to the top side. That's big for this number 98. Watch him. He has been so good in these big blocks. We talked about it at Volusia last week. He's found something that the others haven't, and apparently that's a new wheel.
Yes, and that has been getting him these great results. He's 3 for 4 on wins since Cedar Lake, and he's getting pretty good on rolling his way up to the front end already in this race. We know him as a guy who's really good at working with the track as it ages, but even in the first 10 laps of this race, he's making up time, and he's given himself a great shot as we move closer to the halfway point and then forward to the finish of this race. I'd say he's looking pretty sharp right now.
Down to the bottom side of Porter. He's going for 5th here. If he can challenge and get it, you can see these guys up front, though, getting after it. Isley into the wall that time at a 3, and Plank rolls the bottom nice and slowly. You've got Plank trying to beat Isley at his own game. Is it going to work?
Isley is known as the catfish, but Brandon Plank ran the bottom on him right there, just getting a little bit up too high into that wall, and it cuts your momentum just the smallest amount. But we know these big blocks, and the slightest amount of momentum change makes a huge difference, and right now it looks like Plank's giving a pretty good run at the number 18 for the race lead as they come down the back straightaway again. Brett Roll's still holding on pretty solidly to 3rd place, further back behind them. These guys still running side by side might give them a chance to catch up and get into the fight.
It's hard to lead the top 2 when they're racing like this. Slide job that time from Plank. Crossover then from Isley. Now down to the bottom goes the 18. No slider there. He's just trying to roll that bottom and use the little bit of flat to turn that car. It worked to get him the lead, but not to get him clear of that 77X. And it looks like Plank rolls the top, gets right back alongside, draws back even with him now, ahead of him into the corner, and that might be all she wrote for the lead position. Plank has him cleared at the line.
They kind of switch positions right here, but the 77X proving that car might be a little bit more versatile going to the top side and making a run, as Gavin Isley still trying to make that bottom do something for him right now. Blank's going to be able to carry, maybe a car length down the front straightaway that time. It's not that big of a gap, but it is something.
A little further back here, we see Josh Mbowski, Porter, Rolls battling. Rolls and Porter, they got back after it last week. We caught a little bit of it. They certainly exchanged some words, but they moved on from it, and I'm sure are racing with clear minds, at least to start the day. We'll see how that changes. Porter, slide attempt there on Josh Mbowski. Couldn't quite get it done, and now has to regroup and figure out how he wants to go back after that number 88J.
They're still running the top side right here. It's still a little bit better up there than to go down low, and we saw that up at the front end of the grid. So these guys are just kind of biding their time. There's still plenty of time to go as the yellow flag's going to come out on the racetrack. We've got a couple cars around on the track, and Scott Fritz is one of them.
Scott Fritz in trouble back here. He gets back going just before the leaders get up to him. Berger may have been the other involved. It's hard to say. And Fritz, I'd imagine, will come into the pit lane right here. Oh, I dare say it's Barsley instead. You can see he's got a little bit of trouble. Let's go back and look at it.
We'll pull up this replay here, and Scott Fritz and Zach Barsley will see how these guys get into it and how this all stacks up. So there's Barsley, Fritz, DeRitter, Sider. They're all running together. Fritz goes way high, as he's been doing the last couple times. A little bit of contact there. Is that going to set it off?
Yep.
Yeah, they just close in on each other. Oh, a lot of guys getting into this, actually. Slight, Korea, Pachalski. Oh, man, there's a lot of guys getting small amounts of contact, but as we saw, Bardsley got a lot.
And that almost reminds me of what we saw at USA, where Zacharias made a hole where there was just never, ever going to be a hole. It's not quite the same, but it's close, where, well, let's watch it here. Let's see if it is the same, because Fritz goes up there. He made it work for a corner, and I think Bardsley could have given him more room at that point. Fritz had kind of established himself up there, but it's similar at the very least.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we saw a couple laps ago, Fritz has been doing this for a little while. He's been getting up into the darker area up at the waist, top side of the racetrack.
I hate to interrupt you, Joe. That quickly, we're already back green flag racing. It puts the challenge on us. I tell you what, his plank is off and away. I believe that is one lap done from the green flag. Clark is up to second. This is something I had started to notice right before the yellow flag. He was up to third and was moving in on our race leaders. Now he's right on the tail end of the 77 for the race lead.
And you got to think, Brandon, obviously, Brandon's going to look down to the inside now. He sees that slider come in from Andrew Clark, and he gets the over-under in. But now he's got to think, you give Andrew Clark an opportunity to take this race lead, there's a good chance you're not going to get it back. He slides up, kind of cuts him off on the top side. They come out of turn 4, and he holds on for the moment.
Clark still up top, plank down low, cuts off, and he advances to the corner, but now crossover. Clark down to the bottom side. Slide job attempt here. Comes up, gets in front of the 77. Crossover. It's not good enough yet. Now Plank down to the bottom again. Slide job again. Let's rinse and repeat. And here we go. A clean crossover one more time from Andrew Clark. He's going to go and slide job again.
Clark actually bobbled in 1 and 2, and that allowed him to get that great slide job run into 3 and 4. Plank's going to try to return the favor this time. Porter's getting into the mix. Look out, he slides Brett Rolls as the slide for the lead doesn't quite get there. They're side by side into the corner. Slide again, going from bottom to top, and this is just going to keep going back and forth for a little while here until they get that good run.
And the two right behind, Porter and Rolls, they're starting to throw sliders again. How long does it take before they get annoyed with each other? Clark, another slider for the lead. Here we go. Can Plank crossing back over? Rolls puts Porter up in the dirt. Well, it's all dirt, I suppose, but up in the loose stuff, up in the fluffy stuff, and he gets back rolling. Now, Plank maybe a little too far back. He drives low, cuts off the apex, tries to make some ground up, rolls the top now right behind Clark. He's trying to find something, but Clark may have just squirted away and may have the race lead. Well, I say he's got the race lead, but may have enough to just take off again.
Yeah, we've known from Andrew Clark's performances these last few weeks, once he gets that race lead, if he's starting to clear away, he's going to be very hard to catch, and Brandon Plank knows that. Brandon didn't want to give it to him, but unfortunately for him, the 98 just got things hooked up and was able to snooker him on those slide jobs and over-under attempts. Meanwhile, behind them, Brett Rolls has been getting a bit of the wall out of turn 2 and into turn 3, but he's got Porter behind him now. Isley running the bottom side. He's still holding on to the top 5, as those two guys caught him pretty quickly on that restart.
Yeah, Porter and Rolls, they had their fair share of a bit of contact and some sliders, some passes there for a bit. They sorted it out now as Rolls has got the spot, but I'm sure Porter's going to say something about it before too long as these two battle for 3rd and 4th. You can see Isley now is working up top. He has moved up from the bottom. Miller gets in front of one car back there. I think that's Brett Haas. Yes, it is. That's for 8th and 9th. But this, I don't think we want to leave this given the context.
Yeah, these two really haven't been having the best time working together, let's say, this season. So the slide job there from Porter on Rolls. Rolls hits that over-under, and he slides to the top side of the racetrack. Got a bit of the wall. Isley and Josh Mbowski slide into this mix. They're all 2x2. Oh, contact again at the front end of the racetrack. Porter goes to the bottom to try to cover it. He slides up. Doesn't quite work for him as Rolls going to get that undercross again and take back that spot.
Josh Mbowski got a piece of the wall behind. Isley's rolled up to them. They were catching Plank for a moment before they started getting back to racing. And Isley turns him in the middle of 1 and 2, and Porter is flipping.
Oh, and Miller's
massive
getting into
crash.
Josh Mbowski was very fast all night. He's involved. Gets on his... Ritter was involved a little bit. There's Isley. That is not what Jamie Porter wanted at all, especially. And that's just tough. That's just tough.
Yeah, that's what we've seen so many times, haven't we? Where, unfortunately, you get to the guy who's rolling the top side and just a little bit of momentum changes, and that's what happens. And, oh my goodness. Some big hits there. Miller gets a piece, gets hit by his teammate, the Ritter. I think Miller's okay for the most part. A lot of the field gets by down low. For those first few guys who were already committed to the corner, they had no way to adjust. Yeah, they took a couple of big hits.
Yeah, there's not a lot of times where you can't really explain what's going on, but I mean, it's just the nature of being on a short track, and this has been brewing for a couple laps. I mean, Rolls and Porter, they get a little hot in the seat anytime they're around each other on the racetrack, so things are going to get tightened up, but Isley just kind of got into the tail of Porter, and everybody comes in from behind, and there's not a lot of time to react, and it's just unfortunate, especially for guys like Tyler Josh Mbowski, Gavin Isley. They're not in the top 3 every week. I mean, they have great performances, but there are guys who are very consistently up there. So the green flag's actually coming back out here with the replay ending, and they're getting back to green flag racing.
Green flag, 1 lap shy of halfway. It's a battle up front. Our top 2 back after it again. At least they were for a moment while they were side by side. Plank now falls back. Ripping the lip, though.
And rip the lip, indeed they should. The top side still seems to be the place to go. Up to the top as well. They're behind them. It looks like a couple guys trying to make runs on DeRitter and Matthews. As the guys starting to be a little exploracious to the bottom side as well. But I think the top's still ripping pretty nicely, at least for guys like Travis Miller who can make it work.
But Charleski through the middle of Matthews and Haas. He had the spot for the moment. Then falls back behind Matthews at least. Haas has to check up a bit. Wenner's down low. Hilton is in all of this. Dean Reynolds is rolling that bottom pretty nicely. Dan Sider gets caught up with Adam Hilton. Miller's the top now of all of this, hits the wall, falls back behind Pachalski, so move Pachalski up to the top side and a couple of spots up as contact there, and they all go way down low. Miller back around all of them, and no, Haas gets down into slight, Pachalski slots back in.
And now correct me, oh, there it is,
there
he's
it
in the
is.
wall. Travis
Miller.
Miller, and I was going to say this a couple laps ago, it looked like that car, I mean, the way that car was crabbing down the straightaways, it looks like this is some damage that has been built up over the last couple laps for Miller.
We talked about maybe the shapings of a championship season once again for Travis Miller. This is how that unravels. He got the wall a couple of times on his own volition and did a lot of damage to it. Let's see if we can go back and get the contact and then the incident where he ends up just coming to a stop. There's already some right side damage, and right here I think is what does it. Into the wall there. We'll see, I think, right down here. Yeah, that was the contact, certainly in 1 and 2.
Yeah, if you look at the left front wheel, and especially the angle of the car as it comes down the straightaways, I mean, the nose starts pointing to the wall, and this is kind of where things just kind of realizes that it's gone wrong. But you can see this for a couple laps leading up to when he actually stops on the racetrack. That he knocked the rear end out of that car pretty good and gave it a good lick that evidently is going to be the end of a very good run right there.
Now the series will try and get him back on the lead lap, but how much is that going to do in this case? You're this far back with only 30 laps to go, thereabouts, and you got to come back through the entire field at this point. I don't know how that's going to work out. Let's ride on board with him here for the restart as the field gets doubled up, and one car's oh, well, that's multiple cars crashing. Brett Haas is one of them. Connor Ross is the other. That's an interesting onboard to jump to. You see Meitzler and Fritz stacked up.
Yeah, they're getting this worked out. A couple cars gotten into each other on the backstretch. Coming to the green, they're going to delay it and get everybody sorted back out again. But to the point on Travis Miller, you know, we talk about guys being able to have adversity and overcome things like this. And this is a steep mountain to climb for Travis right now. But, you know, Travis Miller is pretty good at doing that kind of stuff. So maybe it takes him out of contention to get up far enough to maybe fight with Brandon Plank for spots, but I wouldn't count him out to at least get up into the top 10. I think it's feasible. You know, it's within his grasp. He's got to work for it, though.
Well, he's going to have to be. There's no choice at this point. He's going to have to be good at rolling through an entire pack of cars here at Lanier. I do want to call out Dean Reynolds, 8th place for this restart. That's pretty darn good for that 79. The leaders playing a bit of jackrabbiting. I don't like that. I think they were trying to get restarted in the series called that start off. The pace truck will rejoin these guys. That looked like it was some restart games, but I think that was just the start getting called back.
Yeah, I think there was a little confusion right there on maybe whether or not they were going green. So this time they should be able to go for it, and hopefully they keep themselves together a little better than that, and we get a good restart off this run.
A big shout out to our partners here at the BRP iRacing Series. They are on your screen on the left side, and green flag is back out. We'll start lap 40.
Excellent cover by Andrew Clark as he rifles off the bottom side to the top. And he's going to rip around the top side as Brett Rolls going to look to the bottom side of the 77X. And we got one run in the top and one run in the bottom right there. Plank and Rolls is there side by side for second. Rolls is going to use the bottom to his advantage and take it from the 77X car and maybe see if he can get into the grasps of the 98 up front.
You can see a wide look here at most of the front runners. DeRitter is back in it. You see Matthews there in 4th. Pachalski a top 5 so far, winner. No, Pachalski's actually 6th, I guess. Okay, I miscounted some cars. This is a challenge for the race lead. My goodness. We've actually got a fight here between Andrew Clark and Brett Rolls. Rolls had the lead into the corner. I think the top might have finally just fallen away enough for that bottom to be good enough for Rolls. He had the lead at the line. Into one. He had it for a moment. He's still got it. He's clear up.
And he doesn't go the whole way up the racetrack, but he does have the advantage down the backstretch. Brett Rolls has been spending this whole season trying to figure out what he needs to do to put the car in a spot like this. Andrew Clark, we got a big contact. Isley sideways and upside down on the front stretch. We should be able to get a yellow flag. Oh, maybe not. He did reset that car. We stay green for the moment.
Clark still working up top. That time momentum went his way. Roll starting to run out of steam, it looks like, on the bottom as Clark evolves up there. He's like a Pokemon. He just figures things out on the fly, gets rolling, evolves, and gets back at it, keeps this race lead. I don't know how he does it.
They're going to come up on a slow car here. Tyler Josh Bowski He got into the wall a little bit, as actually Clark does just the same. Pretty significant contact for the 98 car there, as Brett Roll's going to go to the bottom side to see what they do with this 88J as they come out of turn number 4. Roll's going to hold on to that race lead to the line.
Brett Rolls still working on Andrew Clark. These guys side by side more often than not. Every once in a while, you get that moment for Rolls where he's clear up, but doesn't take it all the way. I think he knows that if he does, Clark will just go right back down to the bottom and run another slider on him. He's still working the bottom, lap 48 now of 70. What can he do?
Yeah, you know, your options are going to be limited for a few laps here because of this 88J car right now. But hey, we got to look back. Look who's in third place. Matt DeRitter has torn up into the top 3 in the 03 machine, and this is a great showing for him. And he's holding on with a bit of room right now, so he's looking pretty clean for a couple moments as the guys up front are not. They split the 88J, and I think that's going to get them out of the picture with Josh Joshimbowski. Doesn't give up too quickly, but he does give it to him.
21 to go that time. Clark beats the wall down a bit more at the right rear. I thought maybe Rolls could have used Joshimbowski as a pick, but Joshimbowski played nice, went through the middle, let them both go by. Still side by side they go. That time, 20 to go.
To the bottom still, Brett Rolls being able to roll nicely. Andrew Clark can carry momentum around the top side, and it's only a matter of time before these two lines kind of change up, and these guys are going to have to figure out a new attack plan as they almost make contact at the start-finish line. They're going to be inside of 20 to go now, and it's going to be looking like Rolls down the backstretch, but they are still neck and neck, and it's really a back and forth, I'd say, where it seems like Rolls has advantages for a short period of time, and then Clark gets it back on the top.
Clark just keeps getting that wall every once in a while, and that kind of opens the door for Rolls, I think, to come back, and then Clark gets it figured back out, gets back ahead of him for a moment, then hits the wall again. This is coming to lap 54, and DeRitter is catching both of them as they keep running side by side and keep having to worry about each other. Matt DeRitter has got this track figured out. Rolls, oh, there it is! Clark gets the wall finally enough for Rolls to just take off with it. He's got the race lead uncontested, and DeRitter is up to second.
I'm kind of surprised that 98 car isn't crabbing as much or it's not damaged, because that was a pretty good hit for the 98 off the wall, and he's been doing it for a little while now. But as you said, Matt DeRitter gets the advantage and takes second place from him. He's right to the tail of Brett Rolls as they come past the line again. They're going to be close to 15 to go here. DeRitter looking to the bottom.
And he's got that bottom line. That moves Rolls up, but Rolls is going to try and cover it, run through the middle here. He does not want to go all the way up top, it seems. Matt DeRitter has almost got him clear. He's got him clear this time out of the corner. Matt DeRitter is your leader at Lanier.
And man, I'll tell you what, Brett Rolls has had a long season of trying to beat guys like Brandon Plank, Andrew Clark, Travis Miller. Now he's got to beat Matt DeRitter, a guy who hasn't had a chance to lead a race in quite some time, and he is rolling the bottom fiendishly. Look at the 03 car as he comes off the bottom side. He's got nobody right behind him. He cleared Brett Rolls, and then he put a couple car lengths on him. That car is hooked up tonight.
Look at these guys almost getting 3 wide behind him. This is best case scenario right now for Matt DeRitter. Things can still go wrong, certainly, but this is a big flash in the pan for the 03. Look at this battle behind. Roll's still down low. Plank has caught them all, and Clark is still trying some way, somehow, to roll the top side.
And Clark and Rolls beside each other is going to let DeRitter focus and move up and down the racetrack and maybe put a little bit more of a gap in between himself and these guys. He's going to come past the line here, 10 to go. Isley's in front of him. That's a lap car, but as long as he stays far enough and away and up to the top side, DeRitter's looking peachy clean. Elsewise, there's a battle with 3 cars for second place behind him.
Clark lost third even that time. And falls to fourth, hits the wall big time now. I mean, you just have no left side grip, and I think when you roll the top side, you've got to rely so much on not only right side and right rear grip, but also on left side. And when the track goes away like this, and you're running on split conditions, almost on the dirt, it just seems like these big blocks. Whether that's realistic or not, I'm not sure. I've never driven one, but it seems like that is a recipe for disaster. There's no grip right now for Andrew Clark. He seems better off as he's done, just going full on in the dried out stuff.
Yeah, that definitely seems like the better way to go. And you got to be safe with that car, too. I mean, everything you do on this racetrack, you make those contact points. We saw it with Travis Miller. That car will go away from you over time. You're watching Matt DeRitter go around the inside of
big.
Gavin Isley, and this is big. He's going to come to the line with 6 to go. He passes that lap car, puts him in his mirror if he's running it. They don't run mirrors in this series often, or at least it's a gentleman's rule. On board with him now. Matt DeRitter is looking good at Lanier.
5 laps to go this time by. He's going to get the full palm hand from the flagman. Rolls and Plank are starting to get close. If you're wondering about 5th place, that's Mike Winter, some way further back there. Pachalski and Matthews are fighting for 6th. But to be entirely honest with you, when a driver rises to the occasion like this, like the case of Matt DeRitter, he has earned this TV time. We cannot leave this just in case something happens.
And we got to give a really big shout out to the guy running in 9th place right now as well, quickly, while we still watch Matt DeRitter on screen. Connor Ross is running inside the top 10, his first return to the group in what, 10 races, and he is running in 9th. We got a battle going on still for 2nd place here as they're going to the inside of the 18. Gavin Isley, they're coming to the line, 2 laps to go. Things are getting close, things are getting tight as we come down, and time is running out for those guys.
Matt DeRitter has walked the field by 1.25 seconds, and it might have been more if not for Dean Reynolds that corner. Now gets on by the 79, maybe he's going to roll the top, and he should have him cleared now. He's got plenty of time to relax. White flag is out, presented by Tucson Sound Art, and 1 week removed from the MDR Design 60 at Volusia. It's looking great to be Matt DeRitter, and out of turn 4, he's got it at this point. Matt DeRitter is a winner in the BRP iRacing Series.
Brett Rolls holds on to 2nd. Brandon Plank going to be 3rd at the line as the rest of them come through. Somebody sideways and backwards.
A slight.
And that's going to change things up as the rest
Slight
of them
and
come
Fritz.
past. I am at a loss for words. That was so cool. You get those moments where a guy just has a shine out day and does something amazing, and to be able to run the track when it wore out like that for the 03 machine, to be able to catch up to the guys like Brett Rolls, Brandon Plank, Andrew Clark, and then to be able to pass them, and then to be able to gap them, and then to be able to pull it all together and win this race. That was a stellar performance from that entire 03 team, and that was well-deserved, and he needed that too, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's a really big day. That is really, really cool to finally have Matt DeRitter to go to victory lane. We've been covering this series now since late 2000. Has it been since 2019? I think it has. I think it's been pre-pandemic. And no, you know what? This is how messed up I am on years. Late 2020, I want to say. And all of 2021, that sounds like it makes a lot more sense, right, Joe? So late 2020, the height of the pandemic and everything, all of this time has passed. It's been like a flash, but it's been some 50 races or something that we've covered, if not more, maybe 60 races that we've covered. Matt DeRitter has been in darn near all of them. He's been a driving force of every part of this series, and it's just never panned out like today. To be able to sit back and watch a guy, like I said, rise to the occasion and earn all of that TV time is something special.
Yeah, and that's a guy who puts a lot of time and heart into this series, into being able to compete with these cars, keeping things together. He's one of those names that is the BRP iRacing series. I mean, him, Corby Daniels, Hunter Holberg, they've all worked on this series and made it what it is. And he's been here since the beginning, and he's been trying, and he's been consistent. He's been solid. He's been helpful. He's not focused on himself. He's focused on his team, and it all finally comes together, and he can put that car in victory lane and have that moment for himself. And everything he's put into this series, and with all of these guys who support him and appreciate him, they are all going to feel good too. This was an all-around feel-good race.
And to go from a high to a low, I think the thing that's going to sting the most for second place is that's Brett Rolls. Somebody who's been fighting with all of these guys up front in the points, Travis Miller, Andrew Clark, the list goes, Garrett Zacharias, Mike Winter, Tyler Pachalski, you could add on. He's been fighting with all of these guys, has come so close before, this time second place, because this guy comes into all of it. It's just one more thorn in Brett Rolls' side, and Matt DeRitter grabs the win here at Lanier. We will be right back, continuing and closing coverage from the Lanier Raceplex. A first-time winner that we get to talk to. Matt DeRitter is on the way. Don't go anywhere. This is the BRP iRacing series on Pit Stop TV.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
The one comment I want to make coming back from break here at Lanier, give me more. Corby Daniels, Matt DeRitter, Hunter Holberg, everybody else with the BRP iRacing series, give us more of Lanier. The winner aside, the top 3, the whole top 10 aside, that is the best race I think we've had this season. It was good long green flag runs, Joe. We talked about it as soon as we cut away to break. 3 cautions in this race. This has got to be far and away the best multi-groove track on iRacing on dirt at the current point in time. You had guys running top, bottom, middle, and every line in between that you could try and come up with. Entering low, washing high, entering high, washing low. It didn't matter where you ran. You could find some kind of speed. You could find some reason to justify running there on every single one of the 70 laps run today. And only those 3 cautions. Guys were throwing sliders, running side by side for 10, 20 laps at a time, making a little bit of contact, and only 3 cautions. Give us 2, give us 3, give us 4 races if you want here at Lanier. This is where we need to have more racing. This is the kind of racing we want on iRacing at all. This was good stuff, and it's one of the best guys in the business as far as just a personality goes that we had to talk to first up out of break. I can't believe what we're talking about. I can't believe we're bringing in Matt DeRitter as a race winner. Matt, you won!
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really believe it either, but I'll take it, of course.
Now, I'm sure you would have preferred this come last week, maybe, but it doesn't matter. You're a race winner. I'm speechless for you, buddy. I can only imagine what was going on with everybody else and everything going on right there at the checkered flag. What did you do on that last run? You looked like Andrew Clark out there.
Yeah, I guess my dad's birthday present came a week late, but nonetheless, we're gonna take it. And I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, I like what we've got going on here. Everyone ran a good race. We had 3 cautions in the 70 laps, which is a huge plus compared to last week, and just really happy that everyone kind of stuck it out, got everything together, and we were able to have some really hard, good racing.
Yeah, despite being, but just hold on, let me back up, reverse, there we go. Despite the package maybe being stuck in Long Beach for a week, with that whole situation going on down there and the shipping containers and all that, it seems like this is everything this league needed. Tempers, they were boiling over last week. We know that. We saw a good bit of it happen, and to have a complete polar opposite race like this, and objectively, a first-time winner is always good for a series, this just felt like something that everybody needed.
Yeah, I'd say so. I started 12th in that race, and even back there, everyone was running really well, and I guess in the moment, I didn't think I was making the right moves, but once that middle lane opened up, and I can kind of see, I think it was Brett down there running, and I knew just a little bit higher is where I needed to be from what he was running, and just able to chase him down and get by him. So
and to have all of the effort that you put into this series over this course of time. We've been covering it for, this is the third calendar year, I guess, that we've had BRP on in some form or fashion, right? You have been a driving force of this entire thing. You've gone through a PC falling apart, it seems like. You've evolved so much with this league. How much does this mean to Matt DeRitter to finally get a W?
More than I think it should, to be honest, for being a sim. But yeah, I mean, this is my first full season running. I mean, I didn't run the late model season. About halfway through, my computer just nothing happened. I couldn't do anything. So, but yeah, it's for everyone that puts everything into this. You know, me, Beef, Hunter, all the guys making the decisions, trying to get new stuff started up, and just building it up is it means a lot to at least do well in the series for once.
Well, then we'll call this one the we had the MDR Design 60 last week. Let's just call this one the Matt DeRitter 70. Congratulations, buddy. Seriously, you say maybe too excited? No, it fits. Be excited. Party tonight. I don't care what you do. Maybe work might in the morning. I don't know, but live it up. Have fun. Congratulations.
Yeah, I gotta get packed up and ready to move back into school tomorrow. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But at least I'll do it with a smile on my face tonight.
Yeah, this is a good note. This is a good kind of wave to ride into school. So hey, this works out for you. Then again, congratulations, buddy. Just live it up tonight. Enjoy yourself.
Yep.
Matt DeRitter, 15 laps led tonight, gets the race win here at Lanier. Joe, that's one that everyone can feel good about. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be disappointed to see number 03 at the top of the standings.
No, definitely not. One of the nicest guys in the field, and appreciates everything and appreciates everybody's time, and everybody's going to feel really good about it. But the guy we're talking to here, second place, Brett Rolls, and I know you've been searching for that first win. You thought you had a lot of things together, and you come in second, but if there's anybody to lose to, tonight, and especially for who he is and what he does for this series, Matt DeRitter isn't too bad of a guy to come second in.
Oh, absolutely not. It's funny. One little slip up and Matt was just absolutely gone. I have no idea where he was able to find that traction that he was getting there, but once he got around me, he was just hooked up on all efforts, and I don't think anybody was getting him.
It seemed like that was the way things went to the end of the race there for him. But for you, talk about the whole race through. I mean, you had to work through a very dynamic and changing track. You had to work through a fight with Andrew Clark that we weren't sure if that was going to be the race for the win. I mean, that was a very close and tough fight for you. Talk about, how did you make it through this whole race? And you held on to the top end of the grid the whole way through it. How do you work that 17-hour to make sure you stay in contention the whole way through these 70 laps tonight?
Well, to be honest with you, tonight was kind of an uphill battle for us. We're not on the same rig that we're used to running on a weekly basis. We had a family emergency on Friday night, so we hopped on a quick plane ride up to New York, and I'm actually at my buddy's house running on his rig tonight. So, got some family stuff going on, so the 17-hour camp's got a little bit of a heavy heart tonight, but overall, pretty proud of, how we did, with the circumstances. Wish we could have, had a little bit of a better heat run there, and, maybe could have started up front and finished up front. But, yeah, I mean, can't really complain with how tonight went. We were able to get the lead there for a little bit, and, me and the teammate Andrew Clark, we were pretty much battling side by side there for a long time. Pretty much just trying to find the extra grip where, you could make it, multi-groove race. And I mean, tonight's track was just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, pretty much just trying to keep our nose out of trouble and, be where everybody else isn't, and hopefully try to come away with something at the end.
Well, absolutely, and we definitely want to wish you the best with everything going on up in New York, and hope for the best for you and your family as well. And, Brett, you talked through this whole race. Great racetrack. I mean, it worked in really well. The field handled themselves very professionally and strong, and everybody seemed to get the gist of how Lanier was racing tonight. Talk about your prep. You, maybe Andrew Clark beside you. What are you going to do? How do you feel you're going to Bristol next time? Very big change up from Lanier.
Bristol is actually going to be probably one of our better tracks. I'm pretty good when it comes to Bristol. I can pretty much put the car just about anywhere. It's very racy for me. Just, gonna have to, be on top of the game with qualifying and, kind of start up front, because at Bristol, I mean, it's pretty much all momentum and high speed racing. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen, with whether it be the World of Outlaws in real life or anything that you see here on the sim, it's pretty hard to make up ground at Bristol, especially once everybody gets going and gets up to top speed. So, it's going to be another, pretty much like a Williams Grove or USA kind of night where qualifying is going to be key. But yeah, honestly, tonight for the track with Lanier, we were kind of just hoping to, keep our top 5 streak alive. We weren't really expecting to be up front like we were tonight, but in my opinion, I think Lanier's probably one of the best tracks that we have on the sim. Once it gets slicked off, it's, in my opinion, one of the raciest tracks that we have here. And if you get a good group of guys together, I mean, you can put on some really good racing like we did tonight with only 1 or 2 cautions and some pretty stout side-by-side, even 3 wide, 4 wide racing.
Yeah, that is an opinion that we share here as well. Definitely the racetrack fits into the favor of some really great racing. And so we'll hope to see what you can do with that top 5 streak. Obviously, like you said, you kept it rolling tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing if you can keep it rolling at Bristol next time. Tell us who you got to thank, who you got to shout out here on the broadcast for everything tonight.
First and foremost, I got to thank my team, Extreme Modified Racing, Andrew Clark and all the guys over there. I got to thank 716 Race Cars, my buddy Andrew Smith with Full Throttle Outdoors, Tyler Ducharme Setup Shop. If you guys are looking for some speed, definitely go hit up Tyler and see what you can get over there on that end, because you definitely don't want to miss out on the stuff that he's got coming out. Insanely fast setups, pretty decent dude. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. I don't mean to, so I'm sorry if I'm forgetting you. My head's kind of all over the all over the place right here. But I do have to give a thank you to a local driver up in New York that I've kind of gotten to know over the course of last year. AJ Petrobowski. He's the one that painted this car up for me last season, and figure we could give it a shot here, get something out there other than the orange.
Well, it looked really good, and it looked really good for you tonight, Brett. Good luck with everything going on up there. Hope for the best for you, and congratulations on a second-place run. Well done tonight.
Thank you, guys. You have a good night.
And same to you, Brett. And that is your second-place finisher once again here in the series. He keeps that top 5 streak alive. One stop short, but if he's looking forward to Bristol, we'll see what he's got, Andrew. That's a feel-good moment, but we definitely feel for him racing with a heavy heart tonight.
Yeah, it's always good to power through stuff like that and be able to perform and just kind of set it back, right? Have the distraction of racing and be able to put your head down. It's always good to have something else to focus on, and something he had to focus on was beating the number 77X of Brandon Plank, who ends up coming home 3rd place. And Brandon, not maybe the overall result that you wanted after starting on pole, but for points, it's going to look great. You get your 4 points from winning your heat. You finish 8 positions ahead of your main competition. I know Brett's right there with you, but this is going to look great as far as the standings go for next week. And Brandon, if you would give that a shot of replying, your mic is still muted.
Sorry about that. I heard everything you said. Yeah, no, it was kind of the effort of the week was to try to qualify a little bit better and achieve that, which was nice. I definitely want to be a couple spots better, but those guys just ran a really good race. I really didn't want to leave the bottom initially, but the 98 Andrew kind of rolled by me on the top, and I didn't want to turn into a situation where everybody goes around me on the top, so I kind of moved up there, and then DeRitter went by me on the bottom, and that was a little bit too late. So it was fun though overall.
Sliders back and forth, it seemed like lap after lap after lap from the midsection all the way to the end. How do you try and race like that? I mean, that's a lot to keep up with, and the line is constantly changing depending on what the other driver does to try and cover up the slider or cross you over a little bit differently. How do you work with that as a driver?
yeah, it's tough. You want to be aggressive, but you don't want to use a guy up either, right? So, yeah, it kind of turns into, once the initial slide job is thrown, it turns into just a constant exchange of slide jobs. And it seemed like everyone was kind of throwing bombs at each other, but also staying out of each other too, which is nice. So, with a bunch of different people early in the race there with Gavin and then Andrew and and then Dritter kind of just rolled by us all on the bottom. He did a nice job.
Easily some of the best racing we've seen ever in this series, and you were a big part of it, but that's gonna maybe change next week at Bristol. I know it's very, very fast. It tends to string the field out a little bit. How do you approach Bristol Motor Speedway next week?
I think kind of the same deal. You just try to get some practice laps and keep the nose clean. Just like, here, this place can kind of get a little bit, brutal if everybody wants the top. It was really, side-by-side racing, which was good. So yeah, we'll just try to keep our nose clean like always and, try to keep her towards the front if we can.
And how does points leader after tonight, Brandon Plank, challenge the rest of the season? At least we're assuming points leader. You've got Bristol, Eldora, Fairbury, Charlotte. How does that look for you, and how do you attack this just from a point standpoint?
Kind of just don't think about it. I told my dad as I was leaving the shop today that I wasn't going to practice. I'm just going to get on and react and race. It seems like any time that I start really focusing on where the other guys are at, it seems to kind of cloud my racing. And so just try to keep it out of my head a little bit and just try to do the best you can, and every time you're on the track. So it is cool though, with you guys doing this point deal, point fund, and keeping such good track of it, and it makes it exciting. It's, you kind of subconsciously are always looking at where's the 22, where's the 17, and the 98's been really fast as of late too. So it definitely kind of adds a little bit more of a level of excitement to it, and it makes it fun.
Well, there you go. Expected, but not official just yet, but expected points leader, Brandon Plank, with a pretty good outlook on things. Brandon, congratulations on another really good finish. 11 laps led to boot. Just a good day, I'd say, at Lanier, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
And that's Brandon Plank finishing up third tonight. And Joe, I think each one of the top three, even top five drivers have plenty of reason to be really, really happy with tonight. I don't think there's reason really throughout the entire field for too much disappointment. Obviously, there's a few guys that got caught up in crashes. Sure, Zachary Barsley, Dan Sider, Brett Haas, Gavin Isley, some of those guys. But for the most part, I think a pretty calm race, a good race.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, no matter what happens, you're going to have some guys who have that sort of situation arise where they fall back a little bit. But you look at this top 10 and you see a lot of names that we don't normally see. Obviously, Matt DeRitter gets his win here, first of the season, first ever, I believe. And, I mean, that's just standout. That is so great. Brett rolls, keeps things rolling. And actually, Brett only has, 2 previous second-place finishes? He finishes in the top 5 every week, but second is pretty good for him, and through having these 10 races, only 3 of them, that's pretty solid for him as well. Brandon Plank ran a great race, got third. Andrew Clark in fourth. I mean, that's a step back for Andrew, having won 3 of the last 4 races coming in, but you can't knock fourth. That's a great run for him as well. Mike Wenner, only his second top 5 of the season, and that's a great run for the 23 after having some tough patches through the way. Tyler Pachalski rifles back up to 6th place. That's a great run for the 21 car as well. Not a ton of those lately either, so this is a momentum rebound for the 21 team. Joe Matthews in 7th has been making quiet, consistent top 10s lately, and that's really great to see. Tanner Correa getting that momentum turned around, joining BT Sports. Connor Ross shows up for the first time in 9 weeks, and he gets a top 10. And then Jeff Sharp, even, who has been working his way through the middle of the pack, the midfield group, and has gotten that 28 car into the top 10 again now.
Now, looking back through previous Pit Stop TV broadcasts, the earliest BRP iRacing Series broadcast I can find was October 26th, 2020. It's been that long, and I just want to go back to my point from earlier. We are now in the 3rd calendar year of covering BRP action, and finally, BRP sees Matt DeRitter grab a win. That's how much that means. We'll move on down, though. Of course, finishing 11th tonight is Travis Miller, and I mean, I guess, you know what? It's fair for him to be disappointed, to not finish in this top 10 and not cover up the advances made by Brandon Plank in the points and even Brett Rolls. I think Brett Rolls, depending on how tonight went as far as the points and how the drop works and everything, is going to be close, if not right there with Travis Miller when it's all said and done, especially with the way the heat went for Travis. Just wasn't nearly what he needed at all. So definitely, I think things to grow on for next week at Bristol for Travis. He's got to get back in the game. Richard Pereira finishes 12th. Adam Hilton 13th. Dean Meitzer there 14th. Jamie Porter is still a top 15, but another one of those drivers that I think has reason to be disappointed after a bit of contact sorted him back there. Ryan Beagle with him. Brian Berger 17th. Michael Hackett, all things considered, a decent comeback up to 18th. Scott Fritz there in 19th, and Alan Slight, the first one lap down, finishes 20th.
You go back to 21st on the grid, you got Dean Reynolds. He's 1 lap down as well. And Tyler Joshambowski in 22nd with the 88J. Gavin Isley 23rd in the 18. Brett Haas 24th. Dan Sider in 25th. Zach Bardsley 26th. These are the guys that kind of at the bottom. It's like, you know, it was a great race and everything. These guys obviously aren't going to be as thrilled by their finishing positions, especially more in the back. But these things happen, and it's tough. You know, it's tough to have ups and downs. But nonetheless, great runs by a lot of these guys and some big names back here who are looking to make a rebound when they go to Bristol next time.
I just can't get over driver 03 rising to the occasion. 15 laps led. Started 12th. That's just I think the best feel-good story we've ever had in this series. I really do think it is. I cannot get over it, Joe. And that's going to be really tough to top these last 4 races of the season, I tell you what. Now, I don't know how you top a win like this. And such a clean race, such an exciting race. I don't know how you top it. I really don't. But we'll go ahead and give it a shot here. Again, the rest of the schedule looking like the following: Bristol Motor Speedway, Fairbury Speedway, Eldora Speedway, and the dirt track at the Charlotte Motor Speedway to wrap up this season. I think that the biggest turning point in all of this will likely be Fairbury. Obviously second to whoever we crown as the champion at Charlotte. Fairbury seems like the biggest in... Joe, how many times have we run this graphic? I just noticed there's no R in the beginning of Fairbury. Oh, that hurts me.
Oh, interesting.
That hurts me on a new level. I've got my work cut out for me for next week. Oh, that hurts. How many times have we had this up?
I never noticed that. I honestly never noticed that. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's just take that back down. I think we all need a good laugh sometimes, and that's that. Upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV, there are a lot of them, and this week we've got another double on Tuesday. It's the BSR MX-5s at Spa at 8 p.m. UK, that's 3 p.m. Eastern. It is a circuit change. It was initially scheduled for Alton Park. It is now set for Spa for both events this week. That's 8 total races at Spa this week that you can catch with the BSR guys, the British Sim Racers. Of course, Trophy Tuesdays with the MX-5s and BSRTC with the touring cars on Thursday. In between those, we have the Nork Arca 200, Norktona Arca 200 at Daytona tomorrow night, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, less than 24 hours away from more Nork action on track at Daytona. Later on into the weekend, we've got 2 broadcasts on Sunday. Can you believe that? We have the North American Racing League back for a one-off. It is the Streamers Championship, 11 Eastern, 11 a.m. Eastern. Sunday morning we'll have that. That is 8 a.m. on the West Coast, and you can extrapolate from there for other time zones. That should be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. We've got a couple of extra streamers from last time when we had the first event of this kind in June. So yeah, just an expanded idea here for the Streamers Championship. That'll be held at Road America before we head across the border for the Superior Class Honor Racing Grid Sports Car Championship at Montreal at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and I know Emerson's a fan of that one. So we've got a lot of action coming up here at Pit Stop TV, and of course we wrap back around with the BRP iRacing Series next week at Bristol Motor Speedway. But for now, Joe, where can these guys keep up with Pit Stop TV?
Oh, and you're going to definitely want to get on the docket and get on the social media to make sure you keep up with everything going on this week. Like we said, we're getting a little busy over here, so you want to make sure you're over there checking out facebook.com. You can just search up Pit Stop TV. You can find a stream of these events. You can find updates throughout the week. You can go to Twitter at pitstoptv_, get some of those updates, those mid-race reports, and some of those other updates about what's coming up and some of the headlines for each event throughout the week. Instagram at pit_stop_TV. Great place to go see the action shots that Emerson Arden has been working so hard throughout this broadcast and through a lot of the other broadcasts with the BRP iRacing series to put up. But obviously the whole crew working over there to keep people updated on that platform. And then obviously make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the button, and you get those notifications for the YouTube account here, Pit Stop TV 1, in that link below, or you can just search up Pit Stop TV. You'll get notifications when we go live. You'll be able to keep up with all of these great series throughout the week, and you get some of those other little updates too. It's, you come across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and then you can get a stream on Twitch, and you can just work from 4 different screens and get all sorts of great updates throughout all of these events. And it's just really important to be able to breadth out and to be able to get to everybody on those different platforms. So be sure you get all the different types of information from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with all of our great series here at Pit Stop TV.
Yeah, broadcasting to 4 places each and every week, including sometimes the league page on Facebook or YouTube. Really, really cool being able to broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and put a bunch of social media content out there on Instagram every single week, every single day. Very, very cool stuff. It just what we're building on here at Pit Stop TV, week in, week out, month in, month out, and now working into 2022, I guess we could say year in, year out, is always a lot of fun, and it's always thanks to everybody watching and all the leagues that we've got, all the drivers in those leagues, and of course the partners then for the BRP iRacing series deserve at least one more mention this evening. Of course, Bicknell Racing Products, the namesake of the BRP iRacing series, always bringing you this action on these Monday nights. It would never be possible without them. Neither would it be possible without Matt DeRitter and Matt DeRitter Designs, MDR Designs, your one-stop shop for all things graphic design. Find them on Facebook at MDR Designs, helping you look the best you possibly can. Of course, Jam Performance is on that list. We don't know a whole lot about Jam Performance, but Joe Matthews is a lot for this series, as well as Lindy Direct, the largest industrial, medical, and specialty gas supplier in the world. Joe, I said in the world. Head over to lindydirect.com to find your closest location for Lindy Asset Equipment Incorporated. Custom wood and acrylic pens, bowls, cutting boards, and more. That's the name of the game for Creative Turnings of Waterford, Connecticut. Find them on Facebook and pick up the perfect present for the ones you love. I know Christmas just passed, but I mean, birthdays are always a thing, 365 days of the year. If you want to get somebody the perfect birthday present or whatever you got coming up, Creative Turnings just might be the place for you. And you know what? For you iRacing people, because obviously this is an iRacing.com event, well, maybe what about a league trophy? That seems like what you could go to Creative Turnings to get, or little knickknacks or what have you. Little league merch, I think, could absolutely be something you go to Creative Turnings for. So there's your application then for the iRacing.com market. Look to Creative Turnings. I promise you, they've got some good stuff. And of course, the Super Dirt Car Series, the Northeast Premier Series, showcasing the big block modifieds premier drivers, the ground-pounding, earth-shattering, window-rattling beasts of the Northeast. It is the Super Dirt Car Series. Joe, one more time, final thoughts from Lanier.
What a great racetrack. How about that? Absolutely beautiful racetrack. It worked in perfectly. The field handled it perfectly. Only those 3 cautions. Everybody seemed to get the grips on how to drive the track, and give each other space and be smart with their race cars and avoid calamity. And that was excellent. I love the BRP iRacing series. I think we have some of the greatest sim race car drivers in the platform. And of course, being on these dirt ovals, you get into some rhythms, and some guys are able to put together really good performances week in, week out. I think that's a talking point maybe as we continue on to Bristol. Just the way we go to these racetracks, and this whole season's kind of been back and forth. Short track with no banking, half mile with big banking, flat track, major banking, short track again. It seems like this season is curveball after curveball, but there are people who are very consistent week in, week out, and that might be something worth mentioning. Is just how those guys can keep a good run going. But, Lanier, this was excellent. I definitely think if we're looking at tracks that should be on the schedule twice next season, this is at the top of the list for me as well. And
Or
great
3,
time. And
or
it was
4, or 5 times.
It was a great show and a really feel-good winner.
Yeah, Lanier absolutely deserves a lot of people's vote for multiple races down the road. Volusia and Lanier, I think, fit really, really nicely. And there's some other tracks. I think Lima Land would be good for that conversation, but we can save that portion of the conversation for another day. We, of course, do want to thank everybody for tuning in and all of your support throughout, well, all the time that we've been broadcasting here at Pit Stop TV. It started way back in August of 2017, and it's still cooking along here in January of 2022, and that just makes me feel kind of old, at least respectively at iRacing. I know I'm still very young compared to most, but yeah, been around for a long time. Regardless, we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for enjoying Pit Stop TV's coverage. At least we hope you did, and we hope you come back for a whole lot more. We got a lot on the docket. Keep up with it on social media, and we will see you then for all of that. For all of my partners here at Pit Stop TV, of course, this evening we had Joe Donahue and Emerson Arden. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. We've got a lot more that do a lot with us throughout the week. You might want to check into some of those broadcasts to hear their voices and see what they can do, and we will see you there next time.